Good morning. I suggest we start while people are still joining in. A very warm welcome to this webinar number 2, actually the update webinar number 2 on the Swiss Sustainable Coffee Platform. My name is Matthias Leisinger. I'm from Focusrite. We have been facilitating this process over the last almost a year now, a little bit more than a year now, in collaboration with the Community of Interest Coffee and SECO. So we're very pleased to have a large number of participants joining the webinar today. So I will just start with a few brief housekeeping notes. First of all, please make sure that you are muted to avoid background noises. Then second, if you have any questions during the webinar, please use the chat function and we will take up those questions in the chat and try already to answer questions in the chat. And then after the webinar, we also have planned a Q&A session. So there is certainly time after the presentations to raise questions with regards to what has been shared with you today. With this, again, very warm welcome from our side. And then I would like to hand over to Marco Kreuchi, who is a program manager at the State Secretariat of Economic Affairs, SECO, to start with the presentation. So please, Marco, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Matthias. Good morning, everyone. Great to see so many people attending. And my name is Marco Kreuchi. I'm representing one of the two host organizations today, the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, SECO, more specifically the Development Cooperation branch that deals with trade. What do we do? In short, we design, finance, and support projects in developing countries with the aim of promoting trade, creating jobs, and ultimately reduce poverty. How do we do this? Working through a multi-stakeholder initiative, such as the Swiss Sustainable Coffee Platform with the Swiss private sector, academia, and the civil society is one instrument. Generally, we'd like you to see today's info webinar as an offer to become part of a platform that works together with dedicated stakeholders on the topics of sustainability in the coffee value chain. You may ask yourself why this is needed and what's in it for you. That is what we will try to explain in this presentation. Essentially, we're convinced that there are challenges in the area of sustainability in the coffee value chain that no company alone, let alone the government, can solve. And we believe that the Swiss Sustainable Coffee Platform can be an instrument for scaling and maximizing the existing efforts and solutions of companies in order to achieve greater impact. Before handing over to Christina, let me thank everyone who has been involved during the last more than 12 months in the process of creating, negotiating, and pushing forward this initiative. In particular, the members of the core group. I think we have achieved quite a lot, but there's way more to be done. Now over to Christina, who is here as a representative of the Community of Interest Coffee, the Swiss umbrella network that together with the Swiss Coffee Trade Association, ProCafé, and the Swiss Roaster Guild and SECO have been co-driving this process. Over to you, Christina.
Thank you, Marco, and good morning, everyone. I'm really glad to see such a great turnout. My name is Christina. I'm the Secretary General of the Swiss Coffee Trade Association. And as Marco just introduced me, I'm also representing here the Community of Interest for Coffee in Switzerland, which is an umbrella organization of the initiatives or the associations that Marco just mentioned. As we just heard, the Swiss Sustainable Coffee Platform, it's really been a collaborative effort and a true multi-stakeholder platform. And this is our aim with this, because sustainability challenges facing the coffee industry, both in Switzerland, but really globally, is not an issue and a challenge that any one institution or company can solve on their own. And this is why we are coming here together. And we would like to get your feedback after this webinar as well. But please engage, please reach out to us after what you are about to hear about the structure and the way we have designed this platform. There are a few aspects of it that is still going to be able to shift and change as a result of your input as well. So please engage with us after this webinar as well. Now, the person who is going to follow my introduction as well is Michael von Luerta, who is the previous Secretary General of the Swiss Coffee Trade Association, as well as the previous leader of this community of interest for coffee in Switzerland. Michael has been working tirelessly over the last 12 months together with the SECO and all of those present in the core group of this multi-stakeholder platform. So Michael, I'd like to hand over the microphone to you to introduce why there was a need to create this platform and how we arrived to this point in time today. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Christina, and thanks, Marco, for the introductions. So I pick up again on the question, why do we need this platform? We have heard already that challenges for companies to address sustainability questions in response to consumer demands, but also regulatory pressures are increasing, not only in Switzerland and Europe, but on a global basis. So the platform is definitely a place where we can share information and also for the sector to voice concerns and also provide input. The platform is definitely a unique opportunity for companies, and be it the large ones, medium, small, to collaborate, to exchange information, engage in sustainability projects. We're going to come back to the project side in a private partnership setup and engage in a dialogue with civil society and academia. This is the essence of the multi-stakeholder approach. And for us, it's important to answer and to address the pivotal questions to ensure the future of coffee growing, ensuring also quality diversity and taking steps towards a net positive future. I think we all agree that we need to work on the CO2 reduction. So what is different to any of the other initiatives? First of all, this is a Swiss platform. It's for the Swiss coffee sector with the Swiss government as a partner. No other platform or initiative has a government partner. In Switzerland, we got about 200 coffee companies, and the market is very much fragmented. So this is an opportunity to leverage the knowledge and the work done by the other platforms, also to the benefit of the SSCP members. No duplication of effort is a principle, but the focus on the objectives defined by the SSCP members and of course the board, including a sounding board for producing countries to listen and to address also their concerns. I think that's important. Producers should have a voice in this. The platform will also help to educate the public and the lawmakers on the complexity of the coffee supply chain, allowing the private sector to have a feedback loop into the upcoming legislative efforts. And there's a long list of things to come. Just prepare and be aware of it. We can go to the next slide. And I give you a quick story of the SSCP. And actually, I will make a couple of comments beyond what you're seeing here on the screen. So actually, the first talks started about 5 years ago. Between the SCTA and SECO. How do we set up a platform basically aligned to the idea of the Swiss cocoa platform, which is now running for 6 years. Then the whole thing gained momentum during the RBI discussions, Responsible Business Initiative, and more members became also interested in kind of formalizing the working approach here. And then last year we started together with Focusrite, SECO, and a group of 13 people, the core group. We started working on the details, and I think already everybody who participated. And I would say it's an impressive work done within about a year's time. And from here, I would say we go into more detail, and I'm handing back over to Marco.
Thanks, Michael. So again, very briefly, what is the SSCP? The Swiss Sustainable Coffee Platform will be an initiative of a multi-stakeholder nature, open to all relevant Swiss actors with a link to coffee. Its overarching goal is to make a contribution to increase sustainability in the coffee value chain. It will be a platform to foster knowledge exchange and peer learning in a pre-competitive space, consisting of actors from the Swiss private sector, nonprofits, academia, and the public sector. Besides working on sustainability-related topics in Switzerland, the SSCP will include a competitive co-financing mechanism for projects in producer countries with co-financing from SECO. As you can see on the bottom, we're planning to launch the initiative on June 6. We'll give you more details on that later. Next slide, please. So what will the SSCP be doing? Roughly, the work of the SSCP can be split into two core elements. One being the work towards greater sustainability in the coffee value chain that is happening in Switzerland. This includes workshops on jointly defined topics and priorities, be that living income, climate, traceability in the value chain, identification of risks in your own value chain, etc. The platform will foster exchange of experiences and knowledge between its members. It will certainly create synergies with existing international coffee initiatives and will basically translate sustainability discussions at the international level also for smaller Swiss companies that may not have the capacities to follow everything that's happening in these fora. Also, the platform will establish a monitoring, evaluation, and learning system that will provide an account of the achievements of the yet to be specified goals of that platform. This can also be understood as a service to companies when it comes to reporting about their own sustainability targets and measures. The other element is the facilitation of projects in producer countries. The focus here is clearly on generating impact in producer countries through projects. Members of the platform will be invited to present projects that contribute to improving conditions in producer countries. These will be projects addressing living income of producers, climate, traceability topics, and other possible topics in related areas. Examples of projects of a similar nature can be found on the website of the Swiss Platform for Sustainable Cocoa, the big sister and supporter organization of the SSCP. These projects are co-financed by SECO, as I said before. Here we're talking about a considerable amount of 4 to 6 million for the roughly first 3 years. Over to Michael again. Thanks.
Okay, the next question is who can join the SSCP? And of course, we hope that everybody here on the call is signing up. You are seeing the different pillars here, the private sector, non-profit organizations, academia, and the public sector represented through and by SECO. On the private sector, we have traders, we have roasters, we have processors, retailers. We are also looking at bringing in gastronomy, coffee shops, and coffee-related business. Sometimes it's surprising to see how many coffee-related businesses we are having in Switzerland. So this is our target audience. What is also important is that members of the SCCP or future members of the SCCP do not necessarily need to be existing members of SCTA or of ProCafé or SAG. We noticed that there are some companies which are not part of the current associations. So this is on all to say on the on who can join, and please take this as an opportunity to understand more, to learn more, and hopefully also to support the SSCP in the future. So on the next slide, I would like to introduce 3 of our core group members who have worked with us on developing the concept. And there's Benny Lang from Swiss Contact in NGO. Then there will be Ricardo Seitz. He is the managing director of Illy Café Switzerland, and he is also the president of the Swiss Roaster Guild, essentially representing the smaller roasters. And then there will be Pratush Singh, who is the senior vice president of marketing for OFI or OLAM in Europe. So Benny, I would suggest I hand over to you and you give us your perspective. Why do you see benefits for Swiss Contact to be part of the SSCP?
Thanks a lot, Michael. Welcome to everybody to this webinar. Yes, the view of Swiss Contact to this very important initiative for us. This is an excellent opportunity to deepen our collaboration with the private sector in the coffee sector in this case, and thus enhance our organization's impact and credibility. Swiss Contact has a long-standing track record in working in different regions, in different continents all over the world in the coffee sector. So there we feel we have a lot to bring in as well. It's an opportunity to influence and shape the sustainability roadmap of the SSCP. So we bring in the experience in working with producer organizations, with private sector players in the countries where the coffee is produced. I think this is something very important we can contribute here, and in general to contribute to this positive social and environmental change the coffee industry is trying to contribute as well. Marco has made before a reference to the Swiss Cocoa platform. We are an active member there as well, and therefore also will try to bring in our experience, our collaboration, our contribution, and somehow capitalize on this experience as well and bring it to the SSCP. Thank you very much, and I'm handing over to Ricardo, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I am pleased to can speak here. We decided to join the platform and become a member because we can set an example for small and middle enterprises in meeting the challenges of future sustainability development. And I would say the following points are the reasons. First, participation will enable us to find knowledge, expertise, innovative solutions, and best practices for everything related to sustainable coffee supply chains. Second, participation opens up opportunities to meet or work with other organizations in the coffee industry that are working on sustainability issues and their impacts. This also broadens our knowledge base within the company and gives us the opportunity to expand our network. And third, to demonstrate as a company that we are committed to and seeking solutions for a sustainable coffee value chain. We believe that all these issues warrant active participation with attractive outcomes for us and other small and middle enterprises in our coffee industry. Thank you very much, and we'll pass over to Pratush Singh.
Yeah, morning. Thanks, Ricardo. Yeah, on behalf of Olam Food Ingredients, just wanted to mention first who we are a little bit. Supplying coffee to the Swiss and the global coffee industry through our direct presence in more than 20 plus origins and 3 own plantations as well. So this makes coffee, farmer productivity and sustainability at the very heart of our business. We do possess, therefore, the capabilities to implement very much needed on-the-ground initiatives, positively impacting all the key topics that have been mentioned and are very much at the heart and center of our coffee industry, climate change, carbon reduction, living wages, regen ag, et al. While I say this, I'm very conscious that many of our attendees who are from the trade fraternity also possess these origination strengths. And I say that only because that adds to the depth and capacity of implementation when it comes to doing the on-the-ground implementation of such social initiatives. Through the platform, we also see an opportunity to encourage policy dialogue in Switzerland and globally, such as EUDR and many more due diligence requirements that are upon us. So we see ourselves quite aligned to the objectives which were set out right from the start in the SSCP. But what we consider unique to such a platform is going back to what Michael mentioned right at the start, which is the backing of SECO to support this multi-stakeholder partnerships in the development of a sustainable Swiss coffee sector. So potential access to much needed financial resources, as has been highlighted by Marco. I think that is something that we will all be working towards jointly in a pre-competitive context. But that's the key differentiator for us in such a platform. As Benny also mentioned, as OFI, Olam Food Ingredients, we are also part of the SwissCo. We have seen those benefits over the years, over the last 5 to 6 years. And we do believe very strongly that coffee can replicate a similar success story. So those are our reasons. Marco, maybe I pass it back to you. Michael.
Yes, thanks very much, Benny, Ricardo, and Pratouche. And I would say I'm handing over to Marco to talk about the declaration of intent.
Yes. So basically, to become a member, you have to do 2 things. Is 1, sign and endorse the declaration of intent and be willing to pay a membership fee. The declaration of intent has been elaborated over the past year and with the involvement of a substantial number of stakeholders from all sectors. It sets out the high-level vision and basic commitments of the platform. So the vision is an industry that respects the rights of all people, protects the climate and the environment, and operates within integrity and planetary boundaries, ensuring sustainable coffee sourcing and improved livelihoods for producers and their families. As I said, it's a vision. The commitments specified in the Declaration of Intent are related to increasing sustainability, meaning that SSCP members commit to undertake efforts to increase sustainability in their value chains. Specific targets on that will have to be elaborated by the platform together with its members in a roadmap. The members commit to collaborate on thematic focus topics. Also, these topics need to be defined in detail once the SSCP is operational. And members commit to work towards improving their due diligence processes. As you can see in the next slide, the membership fees for that platform range from 500 Swiss francs per year up to 20,000 Swiss francs per year. Membership fees will be used to cover basically costs of running the SSCP, which are mainly related to the Secretariat. SECO commits to provide a seed funding covering 50% of the costs for the first 3 years, which translates to a 50% reduction of membership fees for the same period. You'll find more information on fees and on many other aspects that are covered today on our brand new landing page, which you can see as well here, coffeeplatform.ch. And for the moment, we have 4 membership categories: the private sector, nonprofits, academia, and the public sector. We may add one for Swiss coffee associations. As you can see, the private sector is split in several subcategories. Companies will find themselves in the subcategory of their main economic activity. Just as a brief overview of where we stand in the next slide, over the course of last year, and again, with the participation of a broad group of stakeholders, we have elaborated the declaration of intent. We have established a governance structure. We've written bylaws. We've developed a financial concept, and we've decided on a legal entity for that platform. Currently, we're working intensively on the preparations for the launch event, which will be held on June 6th. And together with the interim board, we're in the process of hiring a coffee position and the executive president for the SSCP. Now you hopefully all want to know where to sign up for membership. As mentioned before, we have a landing page where you can find some information on the SSCP, and most importantly, sign up for membership and for the launch event. As for the launch event, the idea here is to come together and confirm our commitment to the SSCP and see each other face to face for a change. And as mentioned before, it will take place on June 6th at the Kursaal in Bern from 5 to 7. From the public sector will be accompanied by the Federal Council, Guy Parmela, and we look forward to welcome many of you and many future members of the SSCP. This is it already on our end. Thanks again for being here. And as Christina said in the beginning, please do not hesitate to ask questions, and most importantly, visit the landing page coffeeplatform.ch, which we have recently created.
Good, excellent. Thanks to all the participants for the contribution, especially to Benny, Ricardo, and also Pratyush for outlining why this is relevant for their respective organizations. We now have time for questions and hopefully also answers. We already had some questions in the chat we try to answer, but please feel free to raise your virtual hand and then we can take up certain questions. Be too shy. Yes, there is a question from Anand from Swiss Info.
Yeah, hi. I'm a journalist with Swiss Info and I cover commodities, and I've covered the Swiss platform of sustainable cocoa before, which is why I would like to know when will be the official launch of the SSCP, and are the media invited to this event as well?
I can answer the first part. I mean, the official launch will be 6th of June, and then probably Marco from SECO and or Michael can answer the question with regards to media relations.
Yes, thanks, Anand, for your interest. As Matthias said, it's June 6th when we'll do the official launch. We will do press releases, but for the moment, do not foresee press conferences or inviting media directly to the event.
And when do you anticipate having your president in place and ready for the first interviews with the media?
So as I mentioned before, the recruitment process has started for the position that we call coffee lead. and for the position that is the executive president. And we're confident that by the end of summer, we will have recruited the executive president.
And I will just add, give the executive president and also the coffee lead some time to establish themselves, establish the roadmap before going into any details. Probably you are looking at similarly to the Cocoa platform. Any other questions?
Please feel free to raise questions. We still have time left. I'm sure there might be any questions with regards to the platform, to the content. So we have Daniela. You have to unmute yourself, probably. Daniela, we cannot hear you.
Just write the question in the chat, and then we can read it.
Then we have another question from Beailu. Is this correct?
Yes, my name is Bahailu. I'm from Ethiopia, working for Starbucks Farmer Support Center. Do you have any geographic location as a priority?
I think that's something SECO can answer, as they have their focus countries they're working on, I guess, huh, Marco?
Yes, so it will be a mix of SECO priority countries and obviously priority countries of Swiss companies sourcing in coffee. So it's basically the typical coffee producing countries and the Swiss priority countries of development cooperation that are related to coffee, Colombia and Peru, and we work in Indonesia and Vietnam. But this being said, we certainly also focus on countries that are of a priority for the Swiss private sector, and they are potentially eligible for projects being implemented.
Thank you.
Then we have another question, I think from Zoe Williamson. Is correct?
Yes, hi, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm Zoe Williamson from the IUCN, and we are an international organization, and we were involved in the drafting of the Declaration of Intent. And I was wondering how you see the role of the public sector, especially international organizations, as members of the platform going forward.
So the question is, what is the role of the public sector in the platform, right? Sorry, Zoe.
Yes, so, exactly, especially non-research organizations, for example.
Sorry, you're talking about our role as SECO from the public sector, or you're talking about other actors?
Other actors such as NGOs and international organizations. What would be their role in the platform?
So I think that can also be answered by representatives of those organizations, but my perception, there's a lot of knowledge around in universities, in NGOs, when it comes to sustainability topics in coffee in producer countries. NPOs mainly also have contacts with producer organizations. They know how to implement projects in producer countries, so they could be a partner for the private sector when it comes to proposing such projects. And universities, obviously, in those projects could also play a role. But maybe I don't know, Benny or someone from academia that wants to complement.
Well, thanks, Marco. I think you summarized very well. I mean, for us from Swiss Contact, coffee producers are entrepreneurs as well. So our focus is actually the private sector in our target countries, and therefore, as Marco rightly said, we bring in our experience in working with producer organizations in very different contexts all over the world, and hence we feel that we could perfectly team up with the private sector and academia when it comes to the implementation of such projects, but we also bring the experience, of course, to the discussion within the SSCP.
Thank you, Benny. Then we have a question from Patricia, who is asking, could you please provide an example of success stories and main impacts achieved in the cocoa sector? And I think as we have saw Christian as part of the group here, Christian Robin, who is the executive director, I think that's the correct title, of Swissco, probably can add something, Christian, if you're here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Now, first of all, just to say that I'm really excited to see the very good progress with the coffee initiative. We're delighted to support it. Now to your question, I mean, of course, I could mention now one particular project, but I would refrain from that. Although we have published last year a learning report in which we distill all the lessons learned from different 14 value chain projects, in which we share not only success stories, but also failed attempts. And I think it's very important that such a platform is also opening in sharing good and also difficult practices. But our main success, our main impact has been, as I would say, at the level of trust building. Now our initiative has now 6 years of operation. And if you come to our meetings, you really sense the trust which has been built between the different stakeholders, small, large companies, NGO or corporate actors. And this trust, which is increasingly being enhanced, this really translates then into action on the ground. And this, you need this trust, this collaborative spirit to tackle the challenges such as child labor, which is a huge challenge in the cocoa sector. And I really feel that now we are in a much better position to tackle these challenges. So I would say, to short answer, is really the trust which has been built over the past few years.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Christian, and for jumping in here. Good to have the expert on the in the group here. Then we had a few questions on going forward in the chat. I mean, especially with regards to how will the focus topics be defined, how will the detailed roadmap, including measurable targets, be developed. I think those are questions probably. Marco, you can outline a little bit the process of going forward and how now the roadmap will be developed after the coffee lead is being hired. So what is happening as a next step in developing roadmap, measurable targets, and so on?
Yes, thanks, Matthias. So I think we're fully aware that this platform needs to deliver results quickly. So there is a focus on, as soon as we have hired the coffee lead, as soon as we have hired the executive president, start with the competitive project mechanism that I mentioned before, and at the same time start developing a roadmap, again in the participatory process, similar to the declaration of intent, where we basically go more into detail of what has been defined in the declaration of intent, define targets, define metrics, define KPIs, basically in order to have an overarching framework towards the organization will be working in the future, and to which the projects that are being financed in the countries will contribute. So that's in a nutshell a bit how we see the first few months of that platform.
Excellent, thank you, Marco. Peter, you also had a question, or you lowered your hand?
Yeah, no, basically I just wanted to add to the previous question of the role of MPOs representing Rainforest Alliance. So we will be very happy to join this platform, being already a member in the core group. And role is really bringing in the know-how, sharing experiences, and collaborating with all the stakeholders in the sector, basically, to add to all these complex problems as such. So we see it very important that we're part of this initiative. So really looking forward, and thanks for all the work and presentation.
Thanks, Peter. And I think you make an important point here. I mean, this project and the process has been designed in a multi-stakeholder process. So as Marco outlined, we have been working now more than 1 year with different stakeholders, and certainly NPOs and scientific and academia, apart from the private sector, played an important role in developing the DOI and also in the board of the SSCP. It is foreseen that also NGOs and academia are represented in the board and can bring in their perspective in going forward when developing, for example, the detailed roadmap. I think that's also important to highlight here. Good. Any further questions? Any comments, reactions? I hope by now you have used the QR code and signed up for the for certainly the launch event, and hopefully already registered as a member of the SSCP. As Marco mentioned, we are open to take any further questions, detailed questions bilaterally. Please feel free to follow up, but we still have time for questions and answers in these sessions. Please feel free if anything more comes up. There is a question, will the launch event be hybrid? I think that's currently not foreseen. It will be physical in Bern, but we will certainly share some pictures and probably press releases, but hybrid is currently not foreseen. Or Marco, you want to add something here?
No, just to add that those companies that sign up for membership before the launch event obviously will be called also the founding members of the SSCP, will be on stage there with the Federal Council, can, if they want, provide their company or their organization logo as a founding members.
Good. If there are not more questions right at this time, I think we do not have to expand too long. I would suggest that quickly hand back to Michael and Marco, and also Christina for a few final remarks before we then close this sessions. Probably Michael first.
Okay, thanks. Thanks again for Focusrite for organizing the webinar, and for the team for sharing what is the vision of the platform. Again, it's a unique opportunity to work together, more collaboration, especially in the wake of more legislative pressures coming, and also to bring in the smaller and medium-sized companies in Switzerland. We're very fragmented here, and a lot of companies are having no or had no access to any of those sustainability questions. So there's a lot of leverage. There are also a lot of open questions, as we have seen in the chat. The roadmap discussion will be where really the action will happen and needs to happen. And of course, it's a broad multi-stakeholder process where everybody has a stake in and can bring in the ideas. We will also include the producer voices. There will be a subcommittee for producers. It's very important to get producer input, producer ideas. and that we are not only talking about projects from a consuming country perspective, but also involving producers. And I stop here, and then I'm handing over to Christina, and then we will have the final word by Marco.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for all the presenters as well. I hope you have learned a lot about this platform, and I hope you can see how much energy and effort has been put into bringing these ideas together. As we mentioned before as well, none of the details are actually carved in stone, but that also doesn't mean that we are going to change everything with regards to how this platform has been structured. I really encourage everyone who attended this webinar or can listening to it maybe later on in the recording to ask questions, to read the documents, go onto the website, engage with this, reach out to us. There's also an email address on the coffeeplatform.ch website, the info@coffeeplatform.ch. So please just reach out to us through that email, or those of you who are actively working in the Swiss green coffee trade, you know where to find myself as well. So if you have specific questions about the traders' involvement, feel free to reach directly out to myself. But I understand there's a lot of information to take on. So we're not expecting everyone to jump on and become a member right away unless you have already had all the information. But if you are, that's fantastic. What matters really is that we have really a wide range of institutions, companies, private sector, as well as the NGO and government sectors working together here. We are not in different boats. Everyone is actually fighting for and aiming towards the same goals here as a collective. And with all of you who are already working actively either in the sustainability industry or within the coffee sector, know that there's a lot of great initiatives already. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not going to duplicate any existing efforts. What we're aiming to do is, at least from a Swiss perspective, we see an unparalleled opportunity for those institutions, private sector and organizations, and the government being willing to engage with this group of companies and institutions here. We come together and we collectively really work on a solution together and not point fingers at another part of the chain who needs to do better. This is really the intention, the collaboration here. So on that note, I'll pass it back to Marco for some closing thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Michael. I think everything has been said. I believe that we have here an exciting Swiss proposal to work mutually towards achieving sustainability targets. It has been a process that, as it has been said, involved many stakeholders. It will involve in the future many stakeholders, and we count on you being part of this. And we very much look forward to hearing and reading from you. As you can see on the website, there's also an email address where you can ask any questions you may have. Now, I just saw that Philipp Schneuli raised his hand. I don't know if you had something or that was by mistake.
I wanted to raise my thumb. I didn't want to raise my hand. Thank you.
So thanks, everyone, for joining, and look forward to see you on the launch event on June 6th.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.